too much value in one card. This card not getting nerfed pisses me off beyond anything. Patch notes for 4.7 is finally here. Let's just go ahead and do a quick review, see what it is that we're playing for or what it is that's changing in the current meta. As of right now, we see there are some buffs for, looks like Bilgewater, a good amount of Bilgewater. I see dogs though. Nerfs, obviously Siren Song was there. Kaisa level 1, interesting. Kaisa level 2, she's kind of in a good spot. I think if you're probably with what's getting buffed, they didn't want her to be too overwhelming. She's really good with Garen IV still. Coin is getting nerfed. Kind of expected it, but I didn't know. I still don't know how they're going to do it. Levers adjusted, switches, toggled knobs tweaked. The new balance patch is on its way, bringing with it a perfectly curated set of adjustments that are truly legendary. Players can expect balance updates to be live July 20th by 2 a.m. So in 2 days. In 2 days, we already get patch notes. We get patch notes, and then in 2 days, everything's already getting changed. So Crimson Pigeon, the Bloody Pigeon, has been the cornerstone of several aggressive decks and could quickly snowball out of control if unanswered. We're looking to clip its wings so it can't fly away with the game. I do agree. Coin goes from burst to focus. Thank God. Okay, I'm so glad Coin is going from burst to focus. It was so obnoxious that your opponent gets to play this whole deck, or rather you make your play, you're choosing to attack, you're playing aggressively, and then they're like, Coin, and I'm just like, brother, like, let me play the game. Burst speed, Coins enable powerful defensive capabilities, especially when copied with a focus speed. We're shifting Coin usage more into proactive usage rather than reactive. This should open more clear windows to fight against Coin strategies in combat, and also enable removal windows against units like a leveled up Karma who were running a monopoly in the poor Runeterra economy. Yeah, Karma was played excessively. There's a reason that Karma as like play rate was like, you know, Karma set one of the top decks to get played, right? The win rate was so bad, but the win rate is bad because it's so hard to play a deck that requires you to actively think of a whole situation in many different ways of how it's going to get played out. So either way, glad Coin is getting nerfed. It honestly needed to nerf, like obnoxious to play against. Kaisa has been silently potent in standard for a while, and now despite flying under the radar, we're giving her some more counterplay via blocking by removing her quick attack. She'll still be potent as she evolves, but she will have to work a bit harder for it. Okay, I'm a big fan of this because Kaisa is really oppressive the moment she gets spawned. She did fly under the radar a little bit, but mostly because there's so many other good decks that you can play that require a lot less for you to do. She is a strong card, and you know, like I said, Garen J4 like still enable her a lot, but the quick attack was just obnoxious. Them removing the quick attack doesn't mean that she's no longer viable, but that you have to get another unit to give her quick attack rather than just having her played and then just attacking with her. It's really hard to deal with her. Power Pandemonium, despite previous changes, Powder Pandemonium proved to be a flexible early game play, and while being an explosive late game finisher, we're burning up to make it leans more towards its more explosive fantasies. So 5 cost to 7 cost, that's a huge nerf, man. For each time you've activated to plunder this game. It is a really good card. I'm amazed I just never saw it, but yeah, it's obnoxious. From 5 to 7, it might be Eternal kind of example of how it was getting advantaged on with Misfortune and TF. Legionary charged decks are historically up to no good, and we want to ensure this versatile tutor has to pay a price to reap the rewards. Editors note this is the only balance change for a card in the Eternal format. All other cards are available for play in the standard format. That's interesting. Draw an ally with 5+ power, or grow an ally to 5 power this round. 2 to 3. I think that's very worthy. Yeah, it was really expensive. Really cheap to expensive. With a slew of spell slinging decks gaining popularity, this adjustment is to help put this card back into its place. The Plaza. so old from 6.6 to 5.5. That's a pretty big nerf. This card is standard legal, but the adjustments should help the Eternal format out a bit as well. Seraphine. That's really like defines the answer as to why Plaza Guardian is getting nerfed. Seraphine is just obnoxiously good to play against. This may be the swan song for a fair Siren song. While this took the meta by storm in a multitude of decks, it wants to knock it down at a fair margin to allow other strategies from breathing room. Okay, to explain this, I knew Siren song wasn't going to get the husk removed. I felt like that's really the reason that it is so oppressive, because it doesn't just give all your 1/1 units +1/+1, but the fact that Husk gets summoned right after is like, what do you want me to like play against, or how am I supposed to play against this? Because I now need to get rid of, I'm now going to be dealing with 1/1 units, and plus your 1/1 unit is going to get summoned and get another value that's going to be a 1/3. I think it's a 1/3 or 1/2 from the Husk, and it's just like, bro, like, what do you want me to do against the Siren Song? Siren Song gets nerfed from 4 to 6, is gonna be incredibly destructive to these 1-cost decks. You'll probably still see Fizz, I think, and that deck will probably still stay in relative meta, but this is a huge nerf, and I don't think Siren Song is gonna be leading the charge anymore. We got buffs on Risky Venture. Perhaps this venture was a bit too risky. This bump in power should allow Jack to more reliably kill relevant units while building up the bank. Jack is really not getting played at all. I think it's very important that they're buffing any card that would help Jack to some extent. The old is 3 counts, deal 2 and create 2 coins if it kills. 4 count, so from 3 to 4. Deal 3 and create 2 coins if it kills. So it does more damage. It does cost 1 more. I think it will be fine. Not really a buff as much as it feels like just a, you know, kind of like a hotfix than anything. I guess it is. It's just a little bit more power, but adding 1 cost to it kind of just deters it. The two coins I think is probably the most value, and probably the reason that they're thinking that making it 4 cost is still like okay, because you're getting 2 coins from it anyways. We got Hush. Hush is meant to be one of Targon's go-to cards for interactions. With the introduction of equipment, Hush has felt more like the faintest whisper. We're making this card presence a little louder so that it may spread the sounds of silence. Targon overall is going to get buffed from this card being like buffed. Yeah, from 3 cost to 2 cost is massive and gives you so many opportunities of playing other cards and having to hold less mana as well leading up to this. But Freljord also getting a nice buff here. Snapshotting Frostbite has made Frozen in Fear and Rhymefang Den Mother play out a bit awkwardly. We're shifting to an Aurora to allow Frostbites to continue to pump the pack. Additionally, the flat base health should encourage you to get the doggos on the board earlier. So the old was 1 cost 1/1 Overwhelm. The new is 3 cost 0/4 Overwhelm. I have 1 plus 0 for each time you Frostbite in enemies this game. That's actually pretty solid. Hopefully we see the Rhymefang pack get played more. It looks like the dog trait is probably what they were looking at and trying to buff up the dog trait. Frozen in Fear, Frostbite an enemy, summon a Rhymefang pack, granted 1/1 for each time you frostbitten enemies this game. Frostbite an enemy, summon a Rhymefang pack. Yeah, these are okay. Okay. Yeesh. Old is 6 cost 5/5. When I'm summoned, summon a Rhymefang, granted 1/1 for each time you frostbite an enemy. The new is 5 cost. Okay, so we nerfed it from 5/5 to 4/4. That went down 1 cost. When I'm summoned, summon a Rhymefang pack. This is interesting. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. There's not a lot of Frostbite decks right now that are getting played. I think they'll do good when we start playing more expensive decks, because Siren Song getting nerfed means that there's going to be less swarm decks. Per se, that's how I like to call them. They're just, you know, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and now we're just going to have more like expensive units. Jack, for example, being one of them. Old strike create a coin in hand, and the new is going to be strike create a coin in hand. When you refill mana, heal me 1 for each mana. Okay, that's a huge buff. That's a level 1. Moving coin to focus speed allows us to give it some additional power and interactions in other areas. Bilgewater coin hasn't quite had the meta impact as Ionia, so we're doing some reworks to the Bilgewater half coinciding with the coin nerf. We're updating Jack to give him more texture and make sure his crew can go to the distance. After seeing him struggle to compete in standard, the heal should help Jack be more of a brawler that you want to put in combat before he levels, as well as give him a clear but risky hook with prize fight decks. I like this so much because Jack is honestly so useless right now, even if he has Brash. Like, Brash has literally been a very useless keyword that we haven't really been playing. Same thing, it looks like the mana thing, when you refill mana, you grant 1/1 instead. When you refill mana, grant me 1/1 and heal me 1. So Jack's gonna be a very big brawler, which is honestly what he originally should have been. And that kind of like fits his appeal, or his visual appeal, a lot more. So I'm curious to how he's gonna pop up. Angel's got characters for days. She questioned why she wasn't getting any of the plunder, and nobody had the guts to deny her. From 6/5 Brash to 5/5 Brash Plunder, create 3 coins in hand. Okay, going from a card that is just, you know, obnoxious to deal with to a more obnoxious card to deal with. 3 coins in hand is crazy. Looks like they wanted Plunder to become more viable because Jack just didn't get enough play when he got released. So I'm assuming that they just wanted to put it in a position that, you know, Plunder and Brash have more value. Stream of vulnerable archetypes could use a little love, and it felt bad with Witherclaw couldn't enable itself. This change should kill 2 birds with 1 giant scythe-wielding monster. When an enemy is challenged, give it -2/0 this round. Play grant me an enemy vulnerable. When an enemy is challenged, give it -2. Okay, that's a massive value. Then again, it was a 5 cost, so I think it's fine. And you're only making 1 unit vulnerable. It just sucks that, like, it's an active card. When an enemy is challenged, give it -2. It's going to be rough to play against Shurima. But Shurima, I don't think is getting a lot of play rate, even though it's a pretty 1 cost based deck. Like, even then, like with Siren Song, we weren't playing it. Faithful Wolf Dog. This faithful hound has been here and deserves to be thrown a bone. Faithful Wolf Dog is a 3 cost 2/3 play. Equip me with an equipment that costs 2 or less from hand. From the new to the new, they lowered it from 2/3 to 1/2. Equip me with an equipment that costs 2 or less from hand and forge it. That is a buff. What the shit? Yo, this is a better for the Ornn deck now. Like, just providing forge makes it so that you can actually play, you know, Faithful Wolf Dog with like real value, or like long-term value. Even though it's going down 1/2, the forge basically like is that value. Silencing it though will cause it to lose a lot of its power. Like a signal from the heavens, blessing the Poro King's reign. This update adds some more feasibility to the Poro King's origin. Okay, it's very important that they're buffing this card, or that they're buffing Poro cards at the same time that they're nerfing Siren Song. Poro King just got released, and he has to be in a position where you can still play him even after like the nerf to Siren Song. The Aurora Borealis from 6 cost to 5 cost is very important, like I said, and it's gonna be needed for Poro King to still stay relevant after the Siren Song getting nerfed. Warden of the Tribes, 9 cost to 8 cost. We got Crested Lionhawk from 5/5 to 6/6. The Glacial Sarin from 5/5 to 5/4 with Overwhelm. That's pretty big. Nico has made a splash, but we'd like to reinforce some of her followers for her origin, as well as making them a bit more appealing for subtype decks within their respective regions. Pretty big. I think so. We'll have to wait and see for those cards. Personalization. In this patch, we have a new batch of skin upgrades. This article will be updated tomorrow once the patch is live with details, so make sure to come back and check it. check out. Nah, I'm not a big fan of reading through bug fixes. I'm usually like, okay, if it didn't happen to me, it's not real, it doesn't make sense. Overall, I think it kind of hits the spot. It wasn't really like certain one cost units that were like making the meta like very complicated. It's literally just this one degenerate card that was very, very difficult to play against. Paro King should still be viable. They're nerfing Kai'Sa preemptively because they know Kai'Sa could do really well outside of the one cost meta. Once the one cost meta kind of like, you know, we see it gone because the Siren Song getting nerfed. We now have to deal again with like Garen J4. We have to deal with Garen J4, Garen Bard, Kai'Sa, Garen J4, right? All of these cards that are going to be stacking up a lot of value. And with those like core decks no longer viable, that's why you're also seeing the Frostbite get buffed, because we're just gonna see Kai'Sa, we're gonna see Jack and whatnot kind of cards. Nico and Nidalee start getting played. Nidalee might become a very, very big issue, because if you look right now at the win rates, Nidalee is starting to catch up. Second highest win rate right now, but that's only 163 matches. Always consider that not everybody has the cards to play Nidalee right now. We are still in the beginning, so personally, I don't even have the Nidalee cards, and I've been playing this game a massive amount. So a lot of people still don't have the cards to make the deck, but as soon as we get to a point where everybody is able to make the cards and able to make the deck, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how Nidalee and Nico are getting played out. I think Nidalee is really, really strong because of the brush, and we're gonna have to wait and see how we're gonna play against it, or how we're gonna have to deal with it. I still think the most obnoxious card has got to be this degenerate. Where is this degenerate card? I hate this card with the passion. A 3 cost. I'm amazed they didn't nerf this card preemptively, but this card being able to stop all fast slows and skills is like, bro, like 3 mana. And I know technically you're paying 5 mana because you had to play Brush ahead of time, or Shadow in the Brush, but like there is already value in Shadow in the Brush getting played. Not only that, this also has Spell Shield. It's too much value in one card. This card not getting nerfed pisses me off beyond anything. Hopefully they nerf it like a hotfix kind of thing, because once Nidalee starts showing her true colors, it's just you know, Fizz and Teemo doesn't really have to get nerfed. I think they're in a decent spot. Siren Song wasn't really getting played with them either way, but I think it's a rush deck, and I think that's what Teemo's true intent is supposed to be, and I think he's fine. If anything, they might eventually go back and look at no, some monument's fine. There's a certain card that I thought was very, very obnoxious. I don't really see it right now, but I think it's fine. We'll have to wait and see. Teemo will be fine, and we'll just play it off. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and thank you for being here and enjoying this content. Bye.